But thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you, Miss Edna, for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Mom, my mother-in-law, Felicia Light, for voluntolding me that I was going to be here today. And also, I'm going to shout out my son, who is not here, but apparently he's one of the most famous people in this room. His name is, I call him Baby Chris, and you will call him Christopher Light, because that's what he tells me his name is. But thank you, or Buddha, everyone calls him Buddha. So thank you all so much for having me. Today I'm going to speak a little bit about myself, about my military service, about my cousin's book, and I'm going to do my best not to bore you, not to have an anxiety attack up here, because this is scary, and to hopefully leave you with a little more knowledge about the military than you had when you came in here. So first, I will address the elephant in the room. My official title is Sergeant First Class Natasia M. Light. My name is pronounced Natasia. And I will give you 3 special facts about my name. Number 1, no one pronounces it right. It's just, it is what it is. It's been that way since I was a baby. That's okay. It doesn't bother me because I know that the person on the other end of it is trying their best. The other thing is that many people in my family don't even say my name right. I am of Jamaican descent. And if you have Caribbean people in your family or in your circle, you will know that instead of Natasia, you will hear Natasia. And the last thing about my name is that you will not find it on any keychain, anywhere, in the United States ever. I have gone to many a gas station, many a rest stop, and Natasia is not there. So if anyone in here has some power over that, because there are some powerful ladies up here, I mean, say something, you know. We have special names. I was born in Brooklyn, New York in the 80s to a 16-year-old unwed mother. I know we're in Texas, but I'm sure that if you think back about the 80s and the 90s in Brooklyn, you probably remember it wasn't the best place to be. If you ever seen New Jack City, that. It was a crackhead era. I grew up around a lot of things that I made a point to not have my own children around. But it helped make me. It helped me become the person I am today. And the other thing that helped make me was this unique and special name that I have. When you're Black and you have a unique name, you either go by a nickname, a shorter version, mine is Nana, if anyone wanted to know, or you can lean into it. And you can become like Dr. Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke. Marijuana Pepsi Van Dyke, PhD. Dr. Van Dyke shone a light on people like myself with unique names in her dissertation titled Black Names in White Classrooms, Teachers, Behaviors, and Student Perceptions. And without going into too many details, the study concluded that people with distinctly Black names were subject to disrespect, stereotypes, and low academic and behavioral expectations at a much higher rate than their white counterparts. I can say that I was not a part of the study, but I know that all those things to be true. People would see me, hear my name, see my hair, and automatically make assumptions about me. And good Lord, when I spoke, it was even worse, because why am I a Black girl that sounds white? But I don't sound white. I sound like a person that's speaking. But as a child, I didn't know how to stand up for myself and say those things. So here I am with you today, a uniquely named Black girl who decided to join the Army. I do not know what I was thinking. My family was not happy. My mother, as wonderful as she is, decided that the best way to get me to not join the Army would be to go down to the recruiting station that recruited me. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. And put her bare cheeks on the window of the recruiting station and said, "You will not be sending my daughter to fight in nobody's war. You can kiss my black." Now, at that point, I was like, well, I guess I'm not in the Army anymore. That's it. I don't think that you can continue once somebody put their cheeks up on the window. But some way, somehow, the recruiter was able to convince my mother that this was a good thing for me. And I'm so glad that he did. Today, I can stand before you and say that if there is an American dream, I'm living it. I'm happily married with 2.5 children. House, car, kids, dog, all the wonderful things that I used to see on TV when I was growing up. All the things that I thought I could never have because those things didn't exist for people like me. Growing up in a one-bedroom apartment with my mother and my grandmother, the idea of having a house, a backyard, those things were so far removed from my life. It's still a wonder that I have them today. My friends were confused as to why I chose to join the Army. I came in the Army in 2007 after 9/11. My friends were just like, I don't get it. When I finally did ship to basic training, as soon as a drill sergeant found out I was from Brooklyn, I was taunted and told I thought I was a gangster. But even through the ruck marches in the rain, the drill sergeant screaming in my face, and me embarrassingly screaming from up and down a hallway, I need a battle buddy. If I was ever caught alone, I was able to walk across the stage after training and become one of the 1% of Americans that serve in the United States military. Oh, yeah, stop it. Since then, I've traveled the world. I've run up the mountains in Hawaii, and I've stood on the steps of the White House. And, it's one of my proudest moments, I shook the hands of the first Black president of the United States. And yes, his hands are soft. Sorry, Michelle. But even more than that, I've been able to reach back and reach down and pull up those young soldiers who, for some crazy reason, believed I was someone to look up to. As I grew in the Army, I realized that I wasn't just in it for me. I realized that there were people looking at me. There were younger Black soldiers that looked at me who I still think I'm young. I still think I'm a child. But some way, somehow, I became an auntie in the military. And to this day, after I've been in for 16 years, I still have soldiers that I've worked with over the years call me, ask me for advice, words of wisdom, and sometimes a template for something that they need. I'm gonna say a few facts about the military to just give you an idea of how far that we've come as a people. It wasn't until 1948 that women were allowed to serve in the military, but in very, very limited roles. It was 46 years later, in 1994, that women were allowed to serve in all positions except for combat roles. And it was not until 2013 where that ban was lifted and women were able to serve directly in combat roles. 2021 is when the Army finally began to lift the bans on natural hair, and women like myself were finally able to work and live and be in the military just as we were and not face the discrimination of, your hair looks unkept. You're not really a soldier because I can't slick my hair back in a bun like the white girls do. For some reason, my hair was making me less of a soldier in the eyes of my leadership. It didn't matter that I was smarter, It didn't matter that I could do more. It didn't matter how fast I ran, how great I could read, what kind of presenter I was. For some reason, the focus was on my hair. And when the Army finally said, oops, we should probably fix that, I was finally able to breathe and let my work speak for itself. It's not gonna happen overnight. This was only 2021, y'all. It's a couple seconds ago. But it's happening. The new generation of soldiers that are coming in today don't have to deal with that discrimination because of soldiers like myself, the lieutenants, the other sergeants that I've worked with, to break down those walls, open those barriers, and to have them just live and serve to their fullest potential, to show their bravery, to show their strength, to show their intelligence. Your hair, your name, and not even where you're from defines who you are. You can be anything that you want to be. I will end on this note. The real reason I'm here is because my cousin wrote a book called Natasia's March, and she honored me by telling my story in a children's book. She wanted to tell my story to show to other little girls out there that you can be brave. You don't have to be a man. You don't have to be a boy. You can do anything with big old hair like this, looking like how I look. I'm limping. You can do it. Nothing can stop you. So if you all have a moment when, after you eat and everything, I would love if you could stop by, take a look at the book, and if you find it in your heart, take a look at some of the other books that she's written as well. Her goal is to write children's books that are diverse and inclusionary for all kids. Thank you so much again for having me.